with 2 teams. Are my girls here? Look at this team for staying hard. I've got a fantastic team here. First and foremost, I don't waste your time. I want you to see who our superstars are from. Team manager, lift them up. I want to come and shake them the rest of the point.
All right. Raman Kumbo, assistant coach. Lloyd Tassa, assistant coach. Brenna Siska, goalkeepers coach. Hilary Chuma, team doctor. Admire Nyamatao, physiotherapist. Thompson Matenda, fitness trainer. Shingira Inoni, equipment manager. And the players, George Goa, David Karuru, the 2 captains, Talbot Shumba from Chapungu, Ali Kundimu, Alex Ndibu from Wales, Kelvin Moyo, FC Platinum, Jimmy Zingai, Yad FC, Divine Lunga, Chicken Inn, Takuzwa Chimwemwe, Harare City, Masha Minutes, Orlando Pirates, Richard Achiro, the Rentals, Tafato Coutinho in Tanzania, Kalen Kawapiwa, Baroka, Leroy Mabunga, Gada FC, Kama Billiards, and attached. Ivan Musike, Super Sport.
Your team has Super 6 times. In the last few years, what is that one? You are not, you are.
Black Rifles. Can you start to Black Rifles? Very Takagi. Correct now. Let's Black Rhinos. Correct now. Nintendo Mapore. What you move by Spain?
We are here to celebrate the successes registered by our athletes at regional and continental level. The current performances are a manifest forecast of the positive trajectory that our sport is currently taking. It is also a distinct representation of the results being yielded from the implementation of the National Sport and Recreation Policy, which envisages an active and excelling sporting nation. Allow me, our guest of honor, to express and extend my heartfelt congratulations to our national football team for their convincing performances in the preceding week, as well as that of Tanya Muzinda and Elford Moyo for the awards they were conferred with by the African Union Sports Council Region 5 at Birchwood Hotel in Johannesburg, South Africa, an event which I personally attended. As the ministry mandated to preside over sport in the country, we are indeed delighted with the recognition that our athletes have received at this annual event, which in essence seeks to recognize, reward, and celebrate the region's spokesperson for iconic and meritorious service to sport within the region. Our honorable guest of honor, participation by Zimbabwe at the Regional Annual Sports Award has over the years assisted in fostering solidarity and entrenching regional relations with members of the African Union Sports Council Region 5. Through this grouping and platform, Zimbabwe has been presented with an opportunity to manifest its brand and competitiveness through sport in general and the athletes in particular. It is also my privilege, our guest of honor, to share with you that a lot of success is being registered within the sporting fraternity. Only this weekend, Mashaya Wilfred was crowned the 2018 World Kobudo Champion in Barcelona, Spain, at an event held in Barcelona. Zimbabwe was judged first position ahead of more than 20 countries. Also early this year, Air Chief Marshal Sam Muripo was crowned the Young Master Committed at the So Kokushin or Japan Karate Tournament. And yesterday, our own Mako Mambo came 5th in the 89-kilometer Comrades Marathon race in South Africa. Our honorable guest of honor, it is our plea as the sports sector that there be considerable investment by government to support high performance in sport in this country. It has come to my knowledge that the country has been lagging behind in terms of scientific approaches to sport and is currently devoid of equipment for the general physical preparedness and sports-specific preparedness of our athletes, both at national and local level. It is my fervent hope that through deliberate high-performance programs and continual efforts from national sport associations as well as sports delivery agents, the country will continue churning out competent athletes at this elite level. Air Chief Marshal, I know Kuti Zimbabwe is open for business. Yes, indeed, it is open for business. We have, I'm very much aware and alive to the fact that we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of minerals, good weather, we have everything. But what we don't seem to realize is the resource that I believe is very critical, which is in our people, in our athletes. We have got a talent in abundance in this country. If you look at the world over, Air Chief Marshal, Mukatarisa ku England, the Barclays Premiership is a $6 billion league. And Mukatarisa players are a very good percentage when of Africa. And so we believe that Muno Zimbabwe Mukatarisa kama billion transactions are attached to. He's a superstar. Tinaweka wonder besa nakadewa iwa nani, ma superstar. But atina ma resources ekuti stari ndiyo exposed. Atina ma training facilities akanaka, mazwano kwane sports science. Ndio zotaka kujiwa nedzimwe nyika. But Mukatarisa, if we come closer to home, for South Africa, Mukatarisa league of South Africa, it's a multi-million-dollar league. Vana varikutamba imumu varikuyu ita kuti league inakidze iyoyo ndo vagere apa. Ndo vana vedu muno muZimbabwe. So tiri kuti aiwa maybe as we go forward, we know our government yanga ine transfer challenges economy, but we now know that it's in very good safe hands. And tiri kuona masigns acho. Our country is in safe hands as our team was in safe hands when I joined to go. So we are appealing to your good government that as we go forward, we need to avail more resources to support our national teams, especially the mighty warriors. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are assembled here today, it is important to note that our joy and anguish resides in the performances and heroics of the athletes gathered here in our midst. According to the Global Employment Report on Football, it remains that in terms of minimum wages, less than 2% of players earn more than 720,000 a year, while over 45% earn less than 1,000 a month. In terms of career path interference, it has also been noted, according to the survey, that 29% of transferred players are moved between clubs against their wishes. These statistics, ladies and gentlemen, global as they are, also resemble the situation that we might be unknowingly facing in our country. It is therefore my solemn pledge this evening that, as a ministry, we are going to take drastic measures to address the plight and welfare of our athletes. It is our absolute conviction as a ministry that the success registered by the aforementioned athletes will only be replicated in the ensuing editions, the competitions if all and sundry pull in the same direction in support of our athletes as individuals or groups. Let me take this opportunity to invite all corporates gathered here tonight, to take it upon themselves and further the aspirations of all Zimbabweans by unveiling sponsorship packages of our national teams. Once again, allow me, on behalf of the government of Zimbabwe and the sporting fraternity, to appreciate and celebrate the success of our athletes. This is the time I was going to introduce the athletes to our guest of honor, but Dr. Philip Chamba, being him, you know him, he took over my job. But anyway, thank you very much, Dr. PC. Now talking about corporate sponsorship, I also want to urge our football administrators that we need to ensure that our administration is sound. Because if you look at Kanamanda South Africa, you know the ABSA Premiership, you know sponsored by ABSA. I sponsor the government. Tikaenda ku UK patachitaura kuna Manchester vatogara nana Arsenal vedu inosponsorwa neBarclays. Tikaenda even ku America, sport is sponsored by the corporate world. But how do we do that? We have to have hygiene in our administration of our football. We have to have hygiene. If we tikaramba tichiona hooliganism yatiri kuona president weZIFA, zvatiri kuona vanhu vachirwa mumaground, masponsors havauyi. Yes, Zimbabwe is open for business, but let's also make sure sport is open for business. That we can only do if we have hygiene in our administration. I'm not accusing anybody, but I'm simply saying we can do far much better if we are to attract sponsorship. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to invite Marshal retired Comrade Parents to give us his keynote address. I thank you.
The rhinos, they need to throw away male chauvinism and they take a leaf from the female rhinos who have proved themselves to be very good players and well organized to the extent that they dominate the national women's soccer team. To the Animals Football Club, I believe honestly that the founders of the club need to carry out an operation restore legacy. And anything short of that, they may join the first division next season. I stand before you this evening, I have no independent official existence. I stand in front of you on behalf of the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. General Retired Constantine Dominic Nyikadzino Guvea Chwela. Arts and Recreation, Honorable Kenneth Musani. Secretary for Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, Mr. Prince Mpavirio. Senior government officials here present, Chairman of the Sports and Recreation Commission Board, Ms. Edward Swela, Acting Director General of Sports and Recreation Commission, Mr. Joseph Mchechetere, President of the Zimbabwe Football Association, Dr. Philip Chiangwa, and your board, the Warriors, Mighty Warriors, and their technical officials, friends of the Warriors and Mighty Warriors, corporates here present, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, it is my privilege to honor this evening to celebrate and a show of character by our senior national male and female football teams in the COSAFA Castle Cup campaign and the Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier, respectively. I am delighted that once again, football has reigned supreme in uniting the nation through breathtaking performances by our two senior national teams. I have the pleasure this evening to convey warm regards to the Warriors and Mighty Warriors and all athletes here present from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa. Ladies and gentlemen, I am aware and well briefed that the recent successes by our national football teams comes at a time when the nation is still celebrating the achievements that have been registered by other Zimbabwean athletes at a regional level. Only recently, on 26 May 2018, our own motocross champion, Kanyaradzwa Muzinda, managed to shrug off competition from the 10 countries in the region by winning the regional Junior Sportswoman of the Year. On that day, wheelchair racing champion Alfred Moyo was also voted as the Sportsman of the Year in the face of several nominees from South Africa and Namibia. In my view, the recent successes and the show of character by our Zimbabwean athletes as well national teams is a mirror image of the resurgent pathway that our sport is taking locally, regionally, and continentally. It is a manifest expression and the ratification of our local selection processes and the quality of sports persons the country has at its disposal. As we are gathered here tonight, it is important to note and realize the significant role that sports in general and football in particular has played in bringing the nation together. The fond memories of the Warriors Dream Team still linger in our hearts, and the qualification and subsequent participation at the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro by the Mighty Warriors still remains an embodiment of success in the history of sport. Only this past week we made Zimbabwe proud again demonstrating your prowess as warriors and mighty warriors through team and individual heroics. Your performances did not keep our attention, including the attention of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and the Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, when he jokingly said, and I quote, "As we currently debate which candidate has the safest hands for Zimbabwe, we can all agree the answer is without a doubt George Chigova." The Warriors goalkeeper who has served 5 penalties this week to get the Warriors into the COSAFA finals, unquote. In line with our new Trust for National Development, government has set out to establish a comprehensive sport and recreation delivery system traceable from the grassroots and durable enough to eliminate social fragmentation as well as instill sound management in the sector for economic gain. As a government, our ultimate goals are to develop the sector to reputable standard levels by ensuring that sport contributes to safe, strong, and sustainable communities, and that it is accessible to all citizens regardless of color, creed, race, ethnicity, socio-economic status, physical and cognitive ability, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. Ladies and gentlemen, as government, it has come to our attention that female athletes are subject to victimization physically and in terms of remuneration. Many a times, our teams, particularly the mighty warriors, have been left stranded due to remuneration issues, and successes by the national netball teams at the world stage have gone unnoticed. In this regard, and as a follow-up to address this cancer to our football and other sports, government through the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation is developing a governance and a remuneration policy to guide the general and the specific guidelines in the administration of sport and the remuneration of athletes in the country. It is also my considered view that we as prime administrators of sport in general and football in particular should ensure a safe environment for children and girls within football by creating deliberate regulatory frameworks for their protection. Such frameworks should be installed with a view to restoring the integrity of the footballers as well as the honor of the entire fraternity. It is government's conviction that at the very core of an effective and efficient sport and recreation system are well-structured and managed bodies. The good governance of these establishments collectively contributes to high levels of effectiveness and efficiency demonstrated through sound decision-making, accountability, and transparency that maintains alignment with organizational purpose and policies. While it is distant for anyone to contest the concept of good governance in sport, the integrity of sport and the recreation have been subjected to significant challenges over recent years. There has been rampant match fixing, corruption, rent-seeking, clientelism, wanton neglection of organizational principles, deceit, and other criminal activities in the sport and the recreation sector. Guided by the need to proliferate integrity issues and a good corporate governance in the sector, government shall deliberately B. Installing vices and mechanisms to eliminate all elementary rudiments of bad governance in our sport with a view to promoting the value of sport and the recreation to national development. As I conclude, I would like to once again appreciate the awesome performances by the mighty warriors, and our regional champions Tanya and Elford, and I would like to urge you to continue with this fine form as we move ahead. May it be known to you that the way you have acquitted yourselves on national duty reflects...
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.